All right, welcome back. Welcome back to Greenbox Gaming plays Delta Green Impossible Landscapes. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Joe. I am joined by three very good friends who I don't have anything, sideways or backhanded to say about because I don't have to. I feel like it's pretty obvious. I'm joined by Brad playing Hank.
Hello.
I'm joined by Dace playing Benji.
God, I'm so high energy.
Yeah, he is. And I am joined by Jean playing Benedict.
Hello.
So before we got recording, before we went live, there was a brief conversation on some of our particularly like one of the kind of odd jobs that I had in my past that led to some very interesting situations. And I was wondering from you guys, like, what's like a job that you've had that led to some experiences that you never expected? Like, I feel like I know Dace and Brad's background decently well, but I don't know, did anything crazy ever happen while you guys were working in college, or even Brad, what you do now? Like, is there?
I mean, Alaska was pretty wild for me.
Oh, that fishing. Oh God, I completely forgot that you spent literally a year as fishing in Alaska.
Well, a summer season.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. That was just like a cool experience. It wasn't digging stuff out of people's butts like usual.
Right. Well, I remember when you told me about, what are they called? Ghost fish or zombie fish?
Oh,
like
ghost dogs.
Yeah.
Ghost salmon in general. Yeah, that's fucking crazy.
Wait, what? What's a ghost
At
salmon?
the end of the season.
Listen to this shit, man.
If I remember the details right, it's salmon that have already gone upriver to spawn, and then they come back out to sea, and they're dead. Like, they are dying. They're decomposing, but they're still moving.
Oh,
And they're like white and rotting, and the smell is god awful.
Like their body is just like, oh, I've spawned now. I've reproduced.
Nothing
I'm just
left.
not going to heal and grow.
Yeah.
And so there's
Wow.
You get them in the nets sometimes, and you go to stick your thumb up the gill and like work them out of the net, and they just disintegrate in your hands.
That's so
It's
brutal.
fucking gnarly.
but they're like
Wow.
alive still.
They're still alive if you can call that living.
So is there
Right?
like a shit ton of just like dead? There has to be a shit ton of dead salmon just wash up on shore at the end of the season.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's maybe the worst thing I've ever smelled.
Wow.
Well, just like
damn.
are there like whole stretches of beach that are just like smell terrible, like for like a period of time? Like if you're in one of those
the place
areas?
I was at, there's like one area in a cove, like at the mouth of a river. So, because the river's there, that's where all of them were kind of focused.
Right,
and
right.
You just didn't go down there after a certain time in the season.
Crazy.
Jeez.
Do they?
Probably
is-
attracts a shit ton of bears too, huh?
I don't know. Would the bears
Yeah,
eat
there's
that?
so many hairy gay men.
Just of them, they're just all down there. Like, look at this crazy
Sushi
ghost
bar.
fish.
They just
Oh man, no, that's a wild one. And I don't know. It's like, and I guess that just probably wasn't on the brochure
Yeah.
when you were looking at
Yeah.
going up there.
certainly not.
Yeah. I don't know. What about you, Brad? You got any cool ones?
None that
They
I
don't have to be
can
body
talk,
horror level
uh,
of stuff.
I'm trying to think of something fun. I can't think of anything interesting / fun. Skip.
Dude, you
Go-
got so many stories from. Well, I don't want to dox the place that you worked.
Are you
Yeah,
talking
worked
about
at-
the
Maybe
medical place that he worked for a while? Is that what you're talking about? Yeah.
maybe none of them are appropriate to share, but
Right.
Yeah.
That's the
you
thing.
got stories.
Yeah, but I don't want to stop saying any of them line.
What about?
Go to Jean. Maybe
what
I'll
about
think.
you,
I'll
Jean?
think of one here.
Yeah. What about you, Jean?
Dude, I can't top zombie fish. Like that's a fucking hard
It's
act
not
to
about
follow.
topping zombie fish. It's
I don't
about
even-
something that like
My life
the
is
other,
not that
other-
interesting.
Bullshit. You made in college. You made the glove. Well, this wasn't really a job, but it was job adjacent. The glove that you made.
Oh yeah. I made like a virtual reality glove, and it wasn't for sex stuff. To be clear, That's the first question everybody asks.
Okay,
It
no
was
fisting.
for science.
Right, Roger.
Okay, it was for like handling hazardous materials, and it had like
What?
force feedback on it. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
It had like haptic feedback, like you could feel when you grab something.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's some futuristic shit.
Nice.
Yeah. got
it somewhere up here.
Well, it's I guess that that's like the I don't know shit about virtual reality, so I guess I don't have any room to talk about it necessarily. But like I guess like at some point in time that will be the next stage. It's like how do we create something where you can reliably grab something in a virtual space and it feels like you're holding it.
I think yes, but if it hasn't happened already, then it's probably not going to happen anytime soon.
Yeah,
It's been around for so long; it's totally possible, and I
right.
don't think it's a thing right now.
Something that I was really surprised to see when I was in the military is they have like the idea of having like a station that you stand at and you have like a virtual reality goggles on, but you can like run around on like a pad and stuff like that. That stuff has existed in military training environments for like 10 years.
Oh, really?
Like,
That makes sense.
yeah, I
How do
remember
you do
the
a
first time
barrel
I
roll
ever,
though?
you don't.
Okay.
It turns out not a lot of barrel rolls in
I just-
combat for the average infantryman.
You're telling me Star Fox has lied to me?
Give them the razzle dazzle, like they won't know what to do. No, because when we would be training in the tank simulators, the dismounted infantry simulators are like right there with them. I'd worked with some guys who used them. They say they're okay. That's gets the job done. But, yeah,
Cool.
I don't know. I don't know, Brad. Brad, you come up with anything
Couldn't think of anything.
interesting? Just
Uh,
see. Brad's life as a janitor has not been that interesting.
I've watched Scrubs. Like one of my favorite characters is a janitor. So you're just lying
Yeah.
to us. Stuffed army of
You guys see that
squirrels.
episode of You guys see that episode of Scrubs where the janitor takes over as the head of the hospital for a day?
I missed that one. How'd I miss that one?
It's a classic.
That's one of the best. He's one of the best characters.
Mhm.
He's like him and like Creed from The Office. Like have a very similar vibe to me. Like they're just kind of adjacent to what's happening, but just an absolute agent of chaos.
I saw something the other day that the guy that plays Creed was actually in like a 70s rock band back in the day.
Great.
So like it's his character of being like this crazy like old washed up like party guy that's done all these drugs is not far off from his real what happened, because I forgot what else. Look him up. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
How about you, Joe?
Yeah, Joe, you got any?
Well, it's
We're just
like,
looping back
where I
around to
am-
the butt stuff.
the butt stuff. Yeah, naturally. And it was all professionally. There is always consent involved. So that's just put that out there.
Payment for services rendered.
Payment for service, insurance paid for it, which is the crazy thing.
Surely that's duress, though. Like, can you get consent from somebody who's in a lot of
who
pain?
needs something removed from their butt.
Mm.
I don't know. That's there. So what we're talking about is like when I was in college, the first round, I worked as a pathology lab tech, at a regional hospital, and man, oh man, the amount of stuff that needs to be removed from people's butts, it's pretty staggering sometimes.
What's the craziest thing that somebody had put up their butt?
Okay, so this wasn't something that I saw specifically, but the pathologist who actually like was over the lab had some type of rodent that had been removed from someone's ass in a jar.
Literally the South Park episode.
Literally the thing where people put rodents
Richard Gere specifically.
in their butts, and he had one on a shelf in his office.
Literally the
And-
Lemmy Winks episode of South Park.
No, and I asked about it. Like I remember, like I would take him specimens, or I like take him paperwork, and I saw it, and I was like, "How did?" And he just like, and he was like this very sweet man, like very quiet, like very kind like guy in his like 60s, and he's like, oh, it's probably what you think. And just
Do you think he used a funnel to get it in there?
to get it in?
Yeah.
I would surely.
Oh my
Like-
god.
One of those spectra, whatchamacallit, that gynecologists
Like a
use?
speculum. Like to...
Speculum.
Anyway,
So-
speaking of putting things where they
wow.
don't belong,
We
here
did
we
not
are.
have banter
Yeah, let's
before
get
this. May have been better to not have banter.
Lemmy Winks.
Lemmy Winks, the adventure of Lemmy Winks. God, I gotta watch that again sometime. All right, speaking of putting things where they don't belong, our heroes, our crew, has found themselves even deeper eyebrows in this night floors type situation. Benji, Hank, and Benedict have found themselves having been ushered into the Dorchester quote-unquote world where they were patients, where they had experienced this whole other kind of delusion, this whole other hallucination of a life outside this place as, of all things, Delta Green agents, part of a conspiracy to save mankind from, the unnatural, whatever that means, And as you guys were imprisoned in this, or found yourself in this facility, and kind of fighting between what is real and unreal, an entire lifetime of memories versus what you now have with the Dorchester, you began to see things kind of becoming apart at the edges. You guys first encountered a few different people. Asa Darabandi, of all people, this odd character, Sunshine. Leland. You encountered Dr. Friend. Dr. Maximo Friend. He's your friend. He's your doctor. He's taking care of you. And I'm sure he's not, mysterious or nefarious in any way. You guys saw a hallucination, or a delusion perhaps, of Henry Lundeen, in this place. Even caught a glimpse of Abigail Wright. As you guys engaged with the group therapy, you saw that things even here maybe aren't what they seem, as you saw this image of Dr. Friend seemingly, bathed in glory and resplendence alongside an even larger and more resplendent throne. You guys met Mr. Wilde, who told you that he knew the guy who knew the way out. And then you guys completely circumvented Mr. Wilde as you started to engage with Deborah Carver, a figure, a person who spoke to you about using something called Melonia and these golden bugs that you guys have encountered as some type of drug. And she told you, oh yeah, you need to go see King Bael, the name of a demon that you guys had heard of before. Oh yeah, you guys need to go see Bael. You guys follow her into the library and spent the last 2 episodes, the last full recording session we had, trying to navigate that space. You guys ran into one of these mannequins for the first time. You ran into a creature called the Paper Tiger. You found Ham again, of all things. You encountered the strange sleeping man. You even saw a past version of yourselves. Not in the library, but in a similar place with stacks of books in the bookshop. In an act of... Was it desperation? Was it an act of desperation to let Benji loose at summoning a demon?
Just seemed
Yeah.
right.
Exasperation, probably.
It just felt right. I think we can all agree, just felt right. You guys, you're like, all right, fine. We're supposed to find this king, this demon, this Bael. Let's bring him to us. Let's do this ritual. You guys did so, and we're surprised to see something was indeed manifested. What is his name? Is it Timothy Bael? Is that his name? You are surprised to see him appear, a patient that you guys had actually seen files on in the Dorchester, and you were originally investigating the hospital. And I don't know, your interaction with him kind of blew the hinges off as far as what you're doing. You know, he told you all of the world is a play. The play is also a play, but the play is also the world, that we're all playing parts. And, you know, and though he seems to have some type of knowledge out beyond himself, maybe even some power, and I will remind you of the thing that you saw when interacting with King Bael. He seemed to have almost this translucent, like, image of a crown actually floating above him, like seemingly placed ethereally upon his head, you know, which is an interesting experience. He tells you that not only does he know the way out, but that you guys need to get out. That you guys need to get out because your part is to get out. That is your part. And that not only does he have a way out for you, he has a way out for himself. And that if you want to come, you can come. You guys had to say goodbye to Ham. And then I think there was a realization there that maybe you weren't seeing Ham for the second time, that maybe you're actually seeing Ham for the first time, as far as Ham's concerned. Anyway, as you release him out into the night floors, which is where you met him originally. And Bael says to you, just as we closed last time, you know, that you guys are just in time as he pushes the doors open to what looks like a dark theater. So, that being the case, that being kind of where we're at, I actually want to do something a little different. I actually want to ask you guys, as far as your characters are concerned, as far as Benji and Bennett and Hank, what are these characters thinking? Like in this moment, you know, we're at this place where this enigmatic figure, King Bael, has, you know, told you, like, this is the way out. This is where we're going. You've just been told all this kind of about the nature of reality, and like, I don't know, like, is that sinking in? Do you believe it? Like, how are we feeling here? How do your characters feel right now?
This is probably the most exciting thing Benji has ever seen. And I would imagine his mind would be racing to take advantage of this situation to ask this being the most valuable questions in this limited amount of time. But I, Dace, as a human, am too stupid to think of the right questions.
Pardon me, the
some-
music just suddenly shifted.
That's some
not what I
combat
meant
music.
to happen.
Oh my god.
Shit.
Oh, shit's going down.
Ignore that.
All right. Whip out the
Is
Desert
Benji about to
Eagles.
fight us?
Benji turns toward Hank. He says, "I've been waiting to do this for a long time, you son of a bitch."
For those who don't know what's happening,
You gotta cut this music in.
yeah,
the
because
recording.
well, the thing is
That
on
was
the
intense.
recording they'll hear different music later.
Okay.
Pardon me, on our live game. Some battle music just
That was
started out of
intense.
nowhere. I don't even know why that happened. Pardon us.
Definitely doing something different there, Joe. Segue to roll for
Segue
initiative.
to Benji turns around. He's like, "All right."
He's covered in blood.
Fred
Okay.
Boat wants us to fight.
I see. Yeah, it's imminent. Okay, but yeah, so Benji's kind of. So there's that kind of disconnect between you as Dace and Benji.
Mm-hmm. Like him, as a literal expert in the occult, would know the right questions to ask.
Right.
Hell, he's probably heard of King Bael before. He might have fantasized about this exact situation, having a conversation with a king of hell.
Right.
With a hamster up his ass.
The hamsters obsessed.
Yeah. I mean. Yeah, I mean, this would be. I mean, certainly, this would be an opportunity of sorts, if you're into that kind of thing. I don't know, like, with Benji, with his sanity where it is, do you think that Benji is starting to lose the plot? Like, just like as far as like the state of his mind?
No, I think it would manifest in a different way with Benji. I think it would manifest in him being so focused, having tunnel vision on the quest. Like, he's completely drank the Kool-Aid now. He's like, oh, it's a play within a play within a play? Sure, of course. It always has been.
Of course. Yeah, it has. It has always been, yeah. Yeah, that's so Benji's in.
Hmm.
Benji's ready to go.
And that's probably how his insanity manifests.
Yeah. What about Benedict? Where's Benedict at?
I think Benedict is at a kind of Jesus take the wheel moment. Because he really wants to protect the group and he really wants to actually make it through this, but he's also deeply skeptical of what the hell's happening and doesn't really feel like this is the reality that we came from. But he's conflicted as well, because the shit that we came from wasn't all that coherent either, with the night floors and everything else. So at this point, I think he's kind of just letting it go, but deeply skeptical at the same time. Expecting to wake up.
I think these guys are on the opposite side of Jesus. And they have the will.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, this came up. Dace, did you listen to the last Sandy check? It just released like a day or two ago. But
No, I haven't had a chance to.
there was a part where these two were talking about their characters versus Benji, and how Benji is kind of like their king in yellow detector. And he just, a lot of times he just is kind of like out there in front, just like beep 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 beep. Like I just
He's like a canary in the
canary,
coal mine, or maybe like
yeah.
a bird dog. He's like a bird dog.
yeah.
Just let him loose. And when his tail goes rigid and his snout turns upward,
you know he's
What you got,
bounded.
boy? What you got?
Yeah. Well, and
There's something over there.
well, and so Benedict in this place, it's like, I don't know, it sounds like Benedict's not really engaging with the content, and just like at this point, it's just kind of, I don't know, not giving up. Not giving up, not
giving
in.
up, no. But kind of going through the motions.
Yeah. And maybe, I don't know, man, like maybe that's the best you can do sometimes, right? Maybe that's it. What about Hank? What's Hank's feeling?
I mean, to your question, has he accepted this as supernatural? Yeah, obviously. Like, I think he's like believes in the supernatural at this point for sure. I mean, he's on the stats wise, he's just on the brink of the breaking point, so he's not
Right.
had a sanity break yet. So I don't think he would buy into like necessarily everybody's playing their part, like there's essentially no free will type situation going. I don't think he would buy into that at this point. He's mostly, he still has wants to, is using this as an opportunity to get out or wake up or get back to the reality he knew before this, and trying to find Abigail if that presents itself.
Yeah, so it sounds like that there is like this appreciation for like, well, this is obviously unnatural, but Hank is still so focused. And we talked about this again, like we talked about this with Hank. Hank kind of has this touchstone of like, get to the real world, try to find Abigail. Like that's kind of what keeps him grounded. He has that point, and he kind of keeps at least one finger on it at all times.
Right.
Yeah, that might not be a bad way to deal with it. Okay. All right. Well, I'm glad we get an opportunity to see into the psyches of our people. So you guys are standing here with Bael. Ham has just run around the corner, ball in hand. You hope that he's off to devour some finger sandwiches, in the night world, in the night floors. And as you guys, right as Bael, as Tim goes to push the door open, there's the sound of a gong. Like just this huge, resounding, reverberating sound right as he begins to push the door. And the sound of rapturous applause all through the theater. It comes pouring out and envelops all of you. Thank you for that, Jean. Jesus.
I'm helping.
For those of you who will miss out on the recording, Jean just did the applauding emoji through Twitch. Anyway, so you guys look in, and at the very front, and it is a theater, it is a huge theater, and at the front is a well-lit wooden stage. It's got these plush burgundy red curtains hanging over it, and you see that seemingly, like, it looks like the place is like damn near full. I mean, you see the silhouettes, but again, it's dark. You see the silhouettes of what has to be dozens, if not hundreds of people, like all sitting and clapping. And just as the door opens and you guys begin to peer through, there is a sudden break in the applause. It's like it feels very natural, and then whoop, it's gone as you guys peer in. Bael had told you that he says, he's like, you need to follow me, okay? Follow me, follow my lead, do what I do. It's really important, okay? He holds a finger to his lips and gestures you to follow, and he begins down the aisle toward, and he seems to be making a break toward the front row.
As he starts to walk away, Benji's like,
just one more thing. Is God real?
He stops for a second, seems to weigh the pros and cons of answering that particular question, and then just again puts a finger to his lips, thinks better of it, and just kind of waves you like, follow me.
shit.
But yes, the audience seems to be pretty damn full, and he's moving, but the way he's moving, he's not moving as if he's just walking down the aisle of theater. He's kind of crouched down. He's kind of crouched down, almost as if he's trying to sneak, and he begins to make his way slowly down. What do you guys do?
Benji's gonna follow him.
Yeah, follow his lead.
Same.
Okay. You guys,
But
make
I
it-
will do this.
Go.
Alertness check to gain some insight to the audience that's here.
Oh, I wouldn't look
Okay.
at that. I would not look at
Probably.
that. Oh,
Mannequins,
it's
right?
just
That's
mannequins.
It's gonna be mannequins.
As far as the
You
eye
see?
can see.
You know what? Jean gets it. Jean gets it. What was that
So-
roll? What was your alertness roll there?
He got a success
42
there.
under 70 success.
This is a bad time to go insane, Hank.
Roll me that sandy check real quick.
Damn.
Let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and get
damn
that
it.
sandy check out of the way.
Success.
All right.
Have you learned nothing? Hank?
All
So
right.
what does Hank
You-
see?
So the other two of you, Hank, maybe you're kind of at the rear of this little group, and you look around, and as you do not see mannequins. You do not see mannequins at all. Rather, there are, as you're looking through, and it's a host of people, and they all appear to be real people, and they're and like sitting there in different clothes, but they're people from all over time, all different places. But you begin to pick out some faces that you know. You see the face of your ex-wife who died in 1995 from breast cancer.
Damn.
You see a partner who you had who was killed in the line of duty. You see one of your quote-unquote sons who's sitting there. You see people. You see the guy who runs the hot dog stand that's outside the marshal's office that you go to all the time. Like, you see people, maybe you see your grandmother. You see people from all over your lifetime, and they are all raptly, like, engaged in this empty stage. Like, they are staring with intent, some of them leaning forward just a little bit. Expectation. Go ahead and you did succeed your sanity roll. So
Damn.
go ahead and take 1 sanity damage, but put it to the side. Put it over there somewhere else and just put, sanity damage that I've taken but don't apply it to your sanity quite yet. Just
What
put it to the
is
side.
this?
It's just
What is
special. It's special.
Debit card
Guys,
sanity.
I wouldn't advise looking at the audience.
You're the doy.
You hear from somewhere in the audience. You hear a shh. You hear yourself being. You hear someone shushing you. You guys make it to the front. You follow Bael, and he's you know that thing you do when you're moving in front of people, like at a show or in a theater, where you kind of get down. He's still kind of doing that. And completely
So Joe, we're
coincidentally-
not on the stage. We're like in the audience, front row.
Yeah, you're in the audience. Yes, you're making your way down from the back of the theater, right?
With you.
You get down to the front, and Bael he motions you, and the whole front row is empty, and there's a little sign on it, and like the little rope, across the seats that says reserved. And there are coincidentally 4 seats that appear to be just right there, dead center.
Dead center?
Dead center.
Golly, this is some real theater of the mind.
Yeah, lucky you. You end
Are there
up
brochures or anything?
in, like programs?
Yeah.
No, there are not.
Are there?
There are not. There's copies of King in Yellow. It's But you guys sit down, and Bael, kind of motions for you, and he takes a seat too. He folds his seat down and just kind of gently sits in it, and he kind of motions for you to follow him, and again puts a finger to his lips. What would you do? You want to join him?
I guess so.
He's motioning for us to sit in the seats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then Benji gets comfortable. He gets out the crinkliest, loudest bag of candy he possibly...
like why do they serve that candy there? It's it seems like a bad call. I imagine you open like a whole paper bag of popcorn, and just
he's got he's got popcorn wrapped in tinfoil.
Individually.
Yeah,
he like
individual
he pulls out his own like camp stove and starts popping popcorn like right there.
You fellas want some of this? It's getting good and hot.
You turn around and offer it to the figure behind you in the row. As you guys,
gently sitting down.
there is another gong, and it reverberates all around you. I mean, it's loud enough that you can even feel it in the chair, like vibrates. Like it seems to not just be a sound, but almost like a presence throughout, the material of the theater itself. And a figure moves in from stage right. All of you have seen this figure to some extent. Some of you more than others. As a child-sized clown wearing bright theatrical kind of like jester's outfit and a pallid white porcelain mask begins to move out in this slow, methodical kind of dance. In one of its hands is a long paper mache origami kind of feel white paper dragon that it pulls through the air all around itself as it dances slowly. Yes,
I
Dace.
think-
I don't know if I ever told Hank and Benedict that I saw this.
I don't
but
know.
I'd be like,
I don't know if Benji did either.
Under my breath.
I saw that creepy little fucker 20 years ago in that park in session 1.
It's in session 1, in episode 1.
I've seen this too. I think it's directed by David Lynch.
Go ahead, Benji. Actually, go ahead and make that sanity check as you put this together.
Gladly.
And I don't think the other two of you ever actually saw the clown.
I think we have, honestly.
Actually, make me an intelligence
Where?
check. The other two
I think
of you.
you saw it in a painting.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
it was like a
that's-
paint. We didn't see a vision of this necessarily, but
Give me an intelligence check for Benedict and Hank. Tell me if you pass or fail.
Failed my sanity check.
All right, go ahead and take 1 sanity damage. Put it in your special pile. Your special sanity damage pile
Hank
for
got a
Benji.
success.
And Benedict.
Okay, both of you remember something. You remember when you went to the encounter group that on a small table off to the side, as you're being given your robes, was a child-sized set of outfits and masks that are precisely the same as what you're seeing right now. There is this orchestral tune that kind of comes up from nowhere. There is no orchestra pit in front of you or anything, but the music seems to envelop you from all sides. It's a slow, droning song. It's hard to even call it a song or music. It's just this weird, like, melody, but it doesn't feel like any instruments or set of instruments that you're really aware of. But it dances precisely. The little figure, again, like child size, like 4 feet tall, like swirling this white paper dragon around it. And Bael is watching closely. He's watching the paper dragon as it moves around the body. You succeeded on your alertness check, didn't you, Hank, earlier?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. As you're watching this, and maybe Hank looks over to Bael and sees Bael, his eyes specifically following the dragon as it swirls around. Hank, you too look up, and you see that, you notice that as the clown is dancing and the dragon is flitting around, you notice there's almost this haze, this slightly reddish mist that is almost moving up from behind you, as if from the audience, and is almost being pulled towards the stage and the dancer. And as the paper dragon trails around, it like cuts through the mist, and the mist disappears as if it's being sucked in, almost. And after you see it, you can't unsee it. Like, it begins as if, like, it's almost as if the clown and the dragon and the dance almost becomes secondary to this. I can't. It's like a mist or fog being pulled up and toward the stage and into the mouth of this dragon as it sweeps back and forth throughout this strange, entrancing dance.
It's coming from Benji's campfire popcorn.
Right. Yeah, that's... Oh, it's burning! Oh, no! Oh, it's burning! Shit. Oh, wait, but Benji likes it like that. That's why he's one of those people. Benji would be a burnt popcorn guy, wouldn't he?
How dare you put that on me?
Bael looks at you, or Hank, you realize that Bael's looking at you, and his eyes are wide and your eyes are wide, and he nods at you, like, yeah, you see it too.
Hank goes,
Shakes his head. Nope.
You guys...
I just picture that Jack Nicholson meme where he's like, you know what I mean? I'm talking, and slowly goes in on
and you're just like, nope. Oh, it's like, oh god, what is the one with Nick Cage where he's in the car with the guy where they're on acid, and the guy's just looking at him like with a big happy face, and he just slowly turns to him.
Pedro Pascal, yeah.
Yeah. Bael whispers to each of you, he's like down on the end, you guys are all sitting next to each other, and he kind of leans forward and whispers. He tells you, we have to wait till the end. And the exit's close. You have to wait. So, you guys sit here for a little while. Is there anything you want to do, or you want to say, while the play continues? Because it goes on for, we'll say it goes on for what feels like probably 20, 30 minutes or something like this. Just this.
damn.
With the music reaching crescendos and then changing tune a little bit into like a little bit of a different dance, but always this slow, methodical melody.
This is not Benedict's cup of tea, so he's this is not his art. So he's gonna be a little distracted and like yawning and like, and he's gonna check under his seat.
Okay. All right.
Interesting.
And you get a car. And you it's bees. Okay. All right. Interesting. Okay. You. Okay.
This is how he dies.
Okay, you check under your seat. Okay, yeah, you check under your seat, and as you do, you realize maybe you lean down or you reach down, and there is something under your seat that's like built into the seat, kind of. And as you feel it, it's hard to really know what it is. Are you gonna like bend down and look underneath the chair, or?
Yeah, I don't think he was going to use his hands. He's kind of like awkwardly crumpled over to go and look. No, not his tongue. He's not licking the underside of his seat.
Yeah,
no,
it's the only way. Underside
to
of a
really
theater seat,
experience the theater with your tongue.
You guys kind of notice, and Bael doesn't stop you as you kind of get down and look, or maybe you just bend forward. You look underneath the seat, and there's almost like there's pipes underneath the seat, and you see that dripping down, like maybe even down the floor. You know how the floors of a theater are sometimes sticky? You know, like a place hasn't been cleaned well. You realize now there is like a bit of a sticky residue. And you see that there are these pipes, and they appear to be positioned as if they would, I don't know, like bubble some type of liquid or gas up into the seat. And there is, from your seat, or maybe the seat next to you, there is a slow drip of a dark, thick, reddish-brown fluid.
Dripping from the bottom of the seat?
Dripping from the bottom of the seat. That seems to come up through these pipes.
Is it coming from me?
No.
Did he shit his pants?
You haven't put yourself. You have not shit yourself.
I'm sorry, guys. I gotta figure out what's going on.
I knew. Where's the bathroom? Where's the usher?
I just love the have I shit myself? Like if that's not an RPG question, well, if that's not a tabletop RPG question, I don't know what it is. Like,
Just the idea of somebody shitting themselves and they're like slowly looking down, like horror movie-esque. Oh my god! What have
I was thinking.
Eldritch
I
horror.
think you should leave Skit where he sits on that whoopee cushion and it farts in the room. He's like, "I'm sorry, guys. I got to figure out what's going on."
I did not think we were going to talk about shitting ourselves today. I just didn't think we were going to get there.
Look, there was stuff dripping from my seat. That's what I would
By
think.
the way,
okay?
I just want to point out, I did describe it as being primarily red and kind of reddish brown. So what's going on?
Hey,
I don't think Benedict's eaten any fiber recently, so who knows?
He really
Incontinence is the real horror story.
really needs to balance his macros. Jesus. Okay.
He's gonna
guys,
hook
I
up.
think I shit myself.
He's gonna have all of these horrifying thoughts in his head,
Oh, God.
but not lose sanity for it. And he's gonna like crunch up on his seat, like just more huddled, like his knees pulled to his chest, trying not to touch the floor after what he's seen.
just not wanting to touch anything. Well, fair, you know. And it's like, and maybe after you see this, maybe you're now paying attention and you hear a bubbling, gurgling sound behind you in the row behind you. You could turn around and check it out.
He does not. Nope. He just shakes his head. He's
Sure?
like,
That sounds really interesting back there.
I'm sure it is.
Just-
I'm sure it
just
is. And
turn around
Benedict,
and-
not me.
Get a
He's
real
like,
good feel for what's going on. Yeah.
Nope. There's no metagaming. This is just Benedict being
Damn.
like, nope, don't want to see it.
Yeah. Well, fair. And I really do think Benedict at this point is just like, nope, the less I see, the better I am. Just kind of.
And he's just happy and shit himself.
You know what? This is such an interesting juxtaposition to where Benedict was at the beginning of our game, where he was like all bravado and like, I have no time for this. And now he's in a fetal position in the chair, just like,
Yeah.
nope, no more.
Nope.
No more.
Nope. Just waiting to wake up.
grateful that he hasn't shit himself. Like the bare minimum.
You know what? You don't appreciate the fact that you haven't shit yourself until you shit yourself, all right?
Folks, every day, wake up and be glad you haven't
You
shit yourself.
haven't I can't believe this has happened. Anyway, so does anyone else do anything, or does anyone else say anything? Like, Hank, you're probably next to Bael, and then Benji's probably in the middle, and Benedict, you're on the end.
Hank's gonna he's already seen enough in the crowd, so he's just gonna like look dead ahead and like try not to look around too much, or even definitely not try to observe more than what he's seeing on stage.
Yeah.
Do we all hear the bubbling noise?
Yeah. I would say if you're not, like, Benedict specifically had something, like, we'll say that if you want, like, if you're just like, if Benji begins to pay attention to something other than the stage, he will hear it too, let's say.
Benji taps the person. Is there anybody in front of us, or are we front row?
No, you guys are front row, and there's no one in the row with you.
Okay.
You could turn around. It's right back there.
I, however, am metagaming, and I will not turn around.
Well, no, like, what's Benji's feel?
What's his feel? He's probably engrossed in the play.
Yeah, he's probably enjoying the shit out of it.
Obsessively, and this is the first time he's ever seen it live.
Ooh, go ahead, make me an unnatural roll.
I would love to.
Ooh.
It would be my greatest honor.
Tell me what you get.
8 under 28.
Wow.
Madness.
Benji is watching, and maybe at some point in time you observe the mist as well, right? And you're watching, and you are paying attention to the pattern of this dragon as it's dragged through the air. And you see something that no one else does. You see the yellow sign in the pattern, innate in the way that this thing dances around, and you see the dragon as it's devouring this mist, and you realize, Benji, that symbol, that yellow sign, that day in Washington Square Park, everyone, whether they know it or not, everyone saw that symbol. Everyone saw the yellow sign. People walking their dogs, people playing with their kids, people playing street instruments. Everyone there was exposed, whether they know it or not. And you know it got on them. You know it got in them, beyond a shadow of a doubt. And you know that it was already in you. And you find yourself, Benji finds himself with a very odd, I would say, state of almost calm, knowing this. It's always been this way.
Wow. Benji stands up and applauds like Shia LaBeouf at the end of that.
I know what you're talking about. Just applauds hard. Oh, there's no, like, Bael looks at you, and his eyes are concerned. He doesn't stop you from applauding. He looks at you, and he's almost surprised. Maybe not concerned, it's not the word. Maybe it's surprised. He kind of gives you like a knowing nod.
Interesting. Okay.
Anything else in these few minutes before the end of the play? Maybe even Bael kind of leans over to you and says, "It's almost over. Be ready."
What for ready? What are we? What for? Ready for what?
You're gonna follow me, okay? Just be ready.
Like real fast.
Not super fast. Just don't worry about it. It's not a big deal. Just
like real slow.
No, not real. So just be ready.
I don't know what that means, but okay.
Be cool, man.
Just be
You're
cool.
embarrassing me in front of our new friend.
He's a
This
king.
is not your friend. This is not your friend.
He's not your friend, Benji.
I'm your friend.
So the music rises into this grand crescendo, and and as anyone who's bends any, like, you can tell the music is coming to an end. And there's a moment where the music rises, it hits its peak. The dancer, the clown, makes a sudden flourish and a bow. And in a, you know that sound, that sound of like when power goes off, that electrical sound of like, Choo! As like everything turns off all at once. That sound as everything goes pitch black. And all of you for just a second can all hear that gurgling sound for just a second, then and it dies down too behind you. And you hear the sound of the dancer moving off stage right. You hear the sound of footsteps, light footsteps, as they make their way off. Then you hear something that sounds like, I don't know, it sounds like something hitting something or someone falling to the ground, kind of like a clunk, 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 like a clunking sound off to the side of the stage. And it is almost complete. It's completely dark for just a moment, and then the house lights come on. The lights in the audience. No more light on the stage specific, as all the lights just shoom come back on. Any of you who, I mean, you can't avoid noticing. None of you can. You are now alone in the theater, and the entire audience is gone.
Damn.
Is Bael still there?
Oh yeah, he's still there.
Is it time?
No, you all realize you've pooped yourself, and he's gone. And so Bael, he stands up, and his voice is still low, and he kind of still has that stance of like he's like creeping. He says, "All right, follow me." And he makes his way around to the side, and there's a small set of stairs that go up onto the stage, and he goes up onto the stage.
Okay. Benji follows him.
Yeah.
Okay. As you guys get up on the stage, you see Bael, he begins to move toward off stage right. And he holds up a finger or like a hand, telling you guys to stay there on the stage. And you guys all peer around the curtain, and you can see off stage right, the dancer, the clown, is on the ground, like twisted and contorted, not like it's been broken, but like it just crumpled in a heap. Like, you know, just lost animation and just ragdolled onto the ground, and like its joints in uncomfortable looking positions. And the white paper dragon is there as well. Bael creeps up ever so carefully and grabs the tail of the dragon and slides it away. And there's a moment where the clown's hand is still on the handle of the paper dragon. Bael eases it away, and as it comes away from the hand, he pulls it a little quicker, and he kind of bundles it up in his arms and walks towards you guys.
Oh, I want to take that fucking clown's mask off so bad.
Okay. He kind of keeps an eye on the kind of inert body of the clown as he comes center stage, and you guys are bathed in light. And he says, like, "Give me a hand with this." And he begins to tear the dragon apart. And is anybody gonna give him a hand?
Why are you? We
Just
need to
like-
get out of here. Why are we tearing this paper mache apart?
He says, "This is the way out. This is the Patsu."
Yeah, and a patsu. What does that mean exactly?
It's. Do you not? It's the play, and the clown and the dragon and the Patsu. You don't know what the hell he's talking about.
No.
That's accurate.
Yes. But he turns to you all, and he says, "The dance is the creation of the play, someone finds the bottle of the author in the cave, and they bring it to the masquerade. The author learns about the king and the story, and the dragon is the yellow sign. The stage is the world. The dragon creates the world and eats the world. The Patsu is the world. And it eats and lives to justify itself. Is that not clear? Like, how could you not get this?
Well, I don't go to theater much, but
He's
Highbrow.
It is a little eyebrow.
Yeah.
He begins to tear this thing apart, even if none of you help him. And but in the middle of the dragon is a glass and metal container that completely violates the way this thing was just floating through the air like a kite, almost. That it obviously is weighty. It's like a big container. It's like I said, it's glass and metal top and bottom, and it has this roiling red-brown liquid in it that seems to almost defy gravity in the way it moves and sloshes about the container. You've seen one of these before. Actually, you've seen this twice now. These containers. Once, you saw these empty containers at the encounter group. You saw containers just like this. And you also saw a container like this being loaded by Dr. Maximo Friend into a kind of pneumatic tube system hidden behind the painting, the Dorchester facility, after Asa had gone to have the Patsu removed from him.
so help me. Hank, realizing that he's seen this before, he's like, I've seen this before back at the mental health facility. But he called this liquid Patsu. How can the world and this liquid be Patsu at the same time?
Because they take the Patsu out of you. They take a part of the world out of you. It's how we get out. He holds up the container in front of him and twists the top off it. And he holds it up in front of him. This is how we get out.
We gotta drink that shit water?
He's like, and he kind of, he's like, yes. And before any of you can do anything, he lifts it to his lips and takes a great big gulp of it. Just gulp. And in a moment, he is gone. Benji, you find yourself inexplicably now holding the container. I'd like everybody to roll that sanity check for me real quick, as we just observed old Tim blink out of existence.
Success for Benedict.
Crit for Hank.
Success for Benji.
Success is all around. Okay. Unfortunately, the crit isn't going to make a difference here, just due to the nature of the mechanics. Each of you take 1 sanity damage and put it in your special pile. Your special side pot. Sanity damage for special boys.
I don't like that.
I don't like it one bit.
All right, so Benji's got this jar in his hand now.
You do, but as you kind of see it in your hands, you hear something behind you.
Okay,
You
turn around.
hear a wooden-ish clicking, clunking sound as
Fucking maniac can come back to finish this off.
you all turn to stage right and see the clown come up off the floor as if it's being picked up by the strings of a marionette. He just kind of floats up and then comes back down on its feet. And
Benji,
its
hurry up
head
with that shit.
jerks toward you, and there is no time. There is no time as the clown begins this slow, methodical, creeping, jerking dance toward each of you
Oh god.
as
Benji,
it shuffles
drink that.
towards you.
Drink it.
And Benji, as you are standing here, all of you feel something within you. It's animalistic. It's bestial. It's instinctual. A deep and absolutely unbridled terror. As just a moment ago, this 4-foot clown now appears to almost be 6 feet tall. And it is coming ever closer. And the only thing you can hear in your heads is run.
Shit.
And that, my friends, is probably a good place to stop.
Oh my god.
But I didn't take that thing's mask off. Jesus.
Listen,
It wasn't
a lot of
satisfied
things-
with its performance.
It was not. A lot of things could have happened. You could have pooped yourself. You could have taken the mask off. Life is full of regrets. And I think that's. I think you guys did an okay job. But, guys, thank you. Thank you for joining me for this session.
Thank you, Joe.
Thanks, Joe.
Gotcha.
Smashing
Those of
job.
you, thank you very much. Those of you, I can't wait to see what happens for next episode, which we're actually going to do right here because we're going to record our next episode. But those of you listening, those of you watching, thank you for joining us. If you really like what you hear, really like what you see, want to support us, head on over to our Patreon. It's linked down in the description of wherever you're listening, wherever you're watching. You can get for just $3 a cup of coffee. You can get the episodes a week early. Also, we just released something. We released all of our music to our Patreons. We have some original ambient work, which is done by our very own Brad.
Nice.
Yeah, and that's some pretty cool tracks there. And somebody had actually had requested our theme song because they wanted to use it as a ringtone because they thought it was that cool.
Sweet.
That stuff is available for our patrons. But otherwise, hit up our social media stuff down. We really appreciate it. Something I keep forgetting to remind you, our wonderful listeners. If you're listening and you're at you're at episode 35 of season 2 here, I'll assume you're liking this. It would really help us if you could go over to iTunes, you go over to Spotify, or wherever you're listening to this, and give us a good rating. It would really give us a hand up and get us out there for more people.
Yeah, we promise we don't talk about poop next time.
No, I can't promise that.
I will not make that promise, my friend.
That is...
Give the fans what they want.
Give them what they want.
Come on.
Those dirty
Such a prude.
fetishists.
Such a prude. All right, guys. Again, thank you very much. And everyone watching live, everyone doing that, we will be back here momentarily. We're going to take a break. For those of you listening, watching later, again, thank you very much. And as always, remember, please, stay safe and stay sane. Bye.
Goodbye.